Cracking, everybody. Today, so first of all, this morning I saw a video, the newest video by Gunner's Collective. Check it out. Thank you, Gunner. Gunner's been sending a lot of people my way. I appreciate that. So you guys know me. I don't really delve into the prison stuff too much. I try to avoid it. But that topic, that the individual that that Gunner was referring to in his latest video, it reminded me of something. So first of all, you know, it was funny because I remember that individual, right? And I remember when everything hit the fan, and it came out that it was all behind him, right? Keeping it real, I remember we were all laughing about it, right? Because we were like, okay, what did anybody think the outcome would be with that guy, right? You know, there's an old saying that to build your house on a solid foundation or the first rain will wash it away, right? And so when you have an individual that's from a certain area, and when just a little bit of pressure was applied, he flipped on people that he grew up with, people that should have been family to him. So if he could flip on somebody who he grew up with and people that were family to him for someone he just met, that's not a solid foundation, right? And obviously when a little bit of drizzle hit him, he took everybody with him, okay? But like I said, everybody kind of laughed because it was like, Stevie Wonder saw that coming. But from what I remember, he was a very intelligent person. And, you know, people don't understand that in prison, it's full of people that got balls that drag, you know. It's full of people that are willing to perform under the gun. But that's a dime a dozen. It's the ones that, you know, I said it before, the muscle cannot move without the brain. And he was able to outsmart some people, put himself in different positions to make them advantageous for himself, right? So anyways, the reason why I wanted to kind of like piggyback on that is because it reminded me of something. And if I'm wrong, I'm sure Gunner or Flacco and them will let me know. But I remember hearing about him being on A Yard of Pelican Bay in 1998, right? 1998, there was a red light on all hostilities. Everybody was sitting back and letting the thing play out between the North and Fresno, right? So everybody, you know, you just do your thing. But here's the thing, and this is why, like, these type of videos I'm not comfortable with, you know, but it is a story, and I'm sure it'll be an eye-opening story to some people. But so when you have a red light issued, right, you got to remember the red light is issued from the SHU where there are no hostilities, and it's issued out to where the potential of violence is always a second away. And so during the red light and the end of hostilities, or the cease of hostilities, a lot more raza from Northern California were getting on the yard, right? And their numbers were becoming greater and greater. And with that will come tension, because you just never know. Prison is the way it is. You know, you never know who's doing what, who's planning what. And so it's always best to try to dictate the situation, right? And so now keep in mind, I was still in the SHU at the time of all this, but you know how it is. Everybody finds out everything. So within the red light is a cease of all offensive activities, meaning somebody couldn't just go whack somebody, right? But during a red light, there's never ever a cease to defensive moves, right? And so a plan was hatched. The plan was basically to force that individual and his camaradas into a situation where they would react. And that reaction would allow an endgame scenario that people wanted, right? And so basically, that individual was approached personally and told, not, it was sternly told, because this was part of the plan, is from now on, you and your camaradas are not going to be allowed to walk around the yard without your shirts on. You need to cover up your tattoos. Nobody wants to see that. Now, come on. Everybody knows that's not acceptable. Everybody involved in it knew. They wouldn't accept it. But Mike, I think it was Mike Tyson has a famous saying, famous quote. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And that happened that day. That individual was like, all right, whatever he said, went back. Obviously, he told his people, suit up, let's do this. So it wasn't long, and later, they did their thing, and they did their thing. I don't think, the Raza from up north have the 5 Ps, and they held to it that day, right? I think the Raza from down south underestimated them and underestimated their anger at being disrespected. And nobody was killed, but people were hurt. Unfortunately for the Raza up north during that incident, the individual that Gunner spoke about, him and a handful of his tights were involved in the initial skirmish. The skirmish that they won, right? And they went to the oil, and the ones that were left behind were trying to find a different route, right? But they didn't realize it was chess. It was, we'll do this knowing you'll do this, and then there's no more discussion, and by the end of it, when it was said and done, the administration was forced to transfer all Raza from Northern California out of Pelican Bay, as well as everyone from Fresno. So actually, both factions were moved out, and it caused a lot of people in the administration to be extremely upset, because then you had one faction on A and B yard completely dominant, right? And I wanted to show you that, just to show you how treacherous things are, but how people will plan for things, and and that's war. They planned it, that we're gonna do this, they're gonna do that, and then we're gonna do our thing. But they didn't expect people to get hurt in the process, And here's a crazy thing before I go. So it wasn't long after that, what was it? 2000. No. Well, when I was getting out of the shoe, right? And that's the thing, is people, people establish bonds regardless of faction, knowing I'm on an individual basis, we can exchange pleasantries, and we can be cool when it's time to do the thing. It's business. It's not personal, right? And so I remember when I was leaving, I don't use the labels that other people. I refuse to use the labels that the CDC uses. Um, Me personally, when I came into the system, I was schooled to where never put tattoos on you to identify you for the juras. Never identify yourself verbally. Even to the point where I was told when you get to an institution and the juras ask you who you sell with, you tell them I sell with Mexicans. And if they, what is Northern Mexican, Southern, or Bulldog, Mexicans, and whoever they put you in the cell with, you deal with that accordingly. But you never help the juras like that, right? And so I don't use those terms, but there was an individual from up north, a heavyweight, and he knew, and I knew, I would be going into a hostile environment, and the individual was wishing me well. Hey, homie, be careful out there, man. Be on your toes, And I'm like, hey, that's just, I'm gonna come right back. So he's telling me, look, I know my people are gonna try to get you, and I hope you make it, man. I hope you're good. And I'm telling him, I'm gonna whack one of them and come right back, and we'll kick it. You know what I mean? Chop it up some more. And it was no disrespect intended. That's the way prison is, And when you think about it, that's a very cold-blooded, calculating environment, right? And this is why we put these videos out. All of us, everybody that has a channel that's been in the joint, we put these videos out so people understand there is no glamour to what we did. There is no glamour to what's going on right now. There's a lot of misery, there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of hurt, there's a lot of hate, but there's no glamour. It's nothing nice. It's miserable men hurting other men, all for self-preservation, man. I'll go ahead and end this video here, man, and you guys take care.